So it is finally time for the season finale of Sky Castle. I know we've all been watching it, just like dying to know how it's going to end. Who's gonna have a happy ending, if anyone? At the end of almost every episode now, like we get the chills just thinking like, ooh, what's gonna happen next? Like literally, get so scared. And now, episode 19, we think things are finally starting to come to a resolution. Dr. Kang and his family, Yeseo, Sejin, they finally confessed to their involvement with the tutor, Kim Joo-young. And although it also impacted Yeseo's future, it's still kind of like a relief for them to finally get this all off their chests. But then there was the ominous ending. Are you sure you won't regret this? Are you sure you didn't have any part in Hye Na's death?
So we watched the trailer and watched some YouTube theories, all the conspiracy theories, and one that we found like super crazy was this.
One channel, which we will link below so you can also watch it. This channel theorized that it's Hye Na's mom, who was the nurse who was sick in the hospital, actually switched Yeseo and Hye Na at birth. She switched babies so that her daughter would have a better future.
Oh.
And that Hye Na is actually Sejin's birth child and Yeseo was the illegitimate child. Okay, so I just thought of something else. So you know when Hye Na is living with Dr. Kang's family, she keeps taking apples and biting into them and then leaving them lying around. It happens the first time when she's snooping around Dr. Kang's computer and she sees the video of him celebrating with Yeseo. And then Sejin comes in and catches her and she had an apple in her hand and she just leaves it there. And then it happens the second time when she's like challenging Sejin in her kitchen. She's like, you better let me sleep in Yebin's bed, literally going head to head with Sejin. And she grabs an apple, like deliberately, takes a bite, and leaves it on the counter again. So Kyuho and I were wondering, like, what does this mean? It's obviously significant, like they keep focusing on the apple, but like why? In general, an apple symbolizes like temptation. If your religion adheres to the Bible, then we know that Eve was tempted to eat a fruit in the forbidden garden, and that forbidden fruit was like, it's been represented as an apple. And it could be that they're just kind of saying like, Hye Na's just trying to tempt Sejin to do something that she would regret, or she's trying to like tempt her to do something that would bring further ruin to their family. But the second thing, I was so excited to share with you guys. So in English, there's actually a saying, like a phrase, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What that means basically is that no matter how different a child is from their parent, at the end of the day, they both came from the same tree. They both come from the same soil. Like they're essentially just one smaller piece of a bigger unit. Like they're the same. The reason why I was so excited about that is because it underlines the other theories that Sejin is actually Hye Na's real mother. I don't know if you would agree with that, but to me, it suddenly just made so much sense. I had to share it with you.
The second theory was the real criminal, the real culprit is actually Wooju. So it becomes a total tragedy. Sejin actually released the
real murderer of her real child.
Yeah,
yeah.
So Amanda is very good at like storytelling and she knows a lot of this plot. So she has some different idea.
The reason I think it's not quite legitimate, like I'm not really buying into that, is a couple of reasons. First, although yes, I do think Wooju is hiding something, it just doesn't make sense I don't think it follows like the arc of the story and the character's dynamic changes, like to suddenly put it all on Wooju out of nowhere when there's been like very, very minimal hints that he has any kind of darkness. Secondly, it doesn't make sense from the point of Sejin. The major like underlying themes here were greed and like motherhood. In the beginning, she was selfish and greedy and she lied like a rug and she just bragged about everything she had, her daughter, whatever. And now, like at the climax, she was forced to make the decision. Do I lose my faith and like admit to the truth? Still sacrifice Yeseo's future? She made that decision already. Like she learned her lesson. She got down on her knees and apologized to Wooju and his family. Like to me, her character arc is just about over. If I only choose one of those to go with, I would go with the Hye Na Yeseo being switched at birth. But I don't think Wooju being the real murderer quite fits into the storyline. For a couple of other reasons, because Kim Joo-young what would be her incentive for going along with it? You know, in that last scene, she was about to poison her daughter and herself. She was about to kill them both. But she suddenly had a change of heart and stopped her daughter from eating the curry. That means that she wants to still have a life with her daughter, even if she's in prison and only gets to see her like once a year or whatever. She still wants to have that connection. She changed too. Why would she then keep up a lie that she's the murderer if she's not? Right? Wouldn't she want to get out of prison and spend even more time with her daughter?
I think since it's a season finale, it's time for like a healing. So if this plot twist is really happening, I feel
it's too cruel. It doesn't.
Too cruel.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily.
What are your predictions for the season finale of Sky Castle? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so our predictions for the final episode. Number 1, will Professor Cha, the lawyer, apologize, give up his pyramid and his ego, and go be with his family?
I think he will.
I think he will too. You can tell him losing his sons right now is really hard for him.
At the end of the day, I think he is still a good person. You remember he defended her daughter when they are all arguing about who's the culprit. He said like she's a professional.
She's a club MD.
Yeah, so I think
he did stand up for her. Yeah.
He will, not forgive. He will apologize.
Will Yeso end up going to SNU? We know it's not Yeso's fault that she basically cheated on the exams. So I understand that they had to mark all of her grades as 0 and that she's dropping out of the university instead of getting expelled. That's good because now she has a second chance. So all she has to do is like, I don't know, do the GED, or the Korean GED, take the Korean SATs and reapply. But will she lose her chance at SNU? I think maybe not, because now she has such a great story to add on top of just having like the resume. She has like a killer story that she can show her character. She can say, here's what happened, like I was so close to getting what I wanted and it all got taken away from me, but now I'm earning my way back to it. So I think she can still have a chance at SNU.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, will Wooju's mom write her book?
Of course.
Yeah, I think so. And now she has even more to elaborate on because it happened to her too, not just Youngjae. What do tutor Kim Joo-young's final words mean? But I don't think much will come of it. I think it's just going to be like, you know, you were also mean to Hye Na. You had many chances to help her out. You could tell she was a kid crying for attention, like that kind of thing.
I'm hoping, really hoping the happy end.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope at the very least all of the families remain together. Because at the end of the day, that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
If you have like any crazy conspiracy theories or ideas you want to share, please share them. We'd love to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you.